Chapter 17, The Fall of the House of Ra. Horus's army flees through Heliopolis and closes in on the very doorstep of a slumbering Ra. Ra's guards are on high alert, noting the troop movements of both Horus and Set. The guards have created a defensive formation around Ra's pyramid. There is no way Set was getting through to their sun god, especially once they are reinforced with Horus's troops. Horus's sun-worn army arrives near the pyramid, and the defensive creates an opening for them to pass. They immediately close ranks and wait. It is a hot day in Heliopolis. Thus, Horus and his troops are given water and fresh linens to wear. Set's troops will be sunburnt and dehydrated, at a stark disadvantage against this newly fortified guard. This battle could well be the last. Nekhebet, Ra's chief protector, goes to Horus. "What does the landscape look like out there?" she asks. "How many?" "His army is large," Horus warns. "They are very bloodthirsty. I've seen terrible things happen in this chapter of war." Nekhebet looks around and notices weakness among Horus's ranks. Some are still bleeding from open wounds, some have scars that have not healed, and some have stumps instead of limbs. "What did he do to your forces?" "It was like nothing I've ever seen," Horus admits. "When you've been battling as long as we have, a mutual respect is the exception. But recently, the sheer ferocity has escalated. Set's troops do not merely slay, they dismember first. As you can see, the healing process takes a great deal of time." One of Nekhebet's scouts returns with dire news. "They are coming rapidly through the desert," she warns. Nekhebet nods. "That was to be expected." "But," the scout continues, "they saw me and made no effort to capture me. I find that rather odd." Nekhebet considers this. "It is." She turns to Horus. "You must send your falcons to get an aerial view. I need to know approximate numbers, and if their army is as injured as yours." Horus summons his falcons and gives the order. They fly over the horizon. 2 falcons arrive as Set's forces march. One lands on Set's right shoulder and looks at him quizzically. "You still working for Horus?" Set asked the raptor. The bird, naturally, does not answer. Its mate had landed on the shoulder of Isis. It is she who can communicate with them. "Tell me, dear falcon, is my son well?" The bird screeches. "Ra's forces anxiously await your arrival. They are armed with spears and have dug in defensively. Horus is safely behind their lines, and being treated as the royalty he will soon be." Isis smiles. "The plan is working," she calls to Set. Set orders his troops to halt. It is time to explain the mission. His generals gather the troops together so they can hear their leader speak. The demons lay on their hindquarters. The warriors take a knee. "Today," Set says, "we no longer wage war against Horus. Today we fight with him." These statements cause grumbling and confusion amongst the rank and file. They are curtly hushed by their superiors. "We are going to march into Heliopolis and defeat Ra himself. No one shall attack any of Horus's army unless they attack you first. Do you understand?" Set's audience is silent. "Horus will fight with us as we attack Ra's guardians. However, be forewarned, we are moving in an unprecedented direction. If you stand beside me, the reward will be great. But if you have fears, let them be known to me now. No harm will befall you." Set looks through the rows upon rows of unsettled, yet silent, troops. The demons flap their wings. They are ready to fight. Most of the warriors are steadfast. However, a few show signs of weakness. Set walks through the crowded formation and stops in front of a combatant. This soldier is shaking. He is nervous about going against Ra. What if Horus has laid a trap? What if Ra conquers them all? What if... Set looks down upon the warrior. "What is your name?" "Senbi, your majesty." "Senbi, you say? If I am not mistaken, your name translates to the personification of health." "Yes, your majesty." "You do not look healthy to me," Set says, before driving his spear into the warrior's skull. Some of the troops gasp, but others, the hardier, cheer. Set looks to the warrior sitting next to the impaled Sinbi. You, gather my weapon. The warrior does as requested. It is an effort to remove the spear from Sinbi's skull. This soldier fights with it, turning and twisting it to no avail. Finally, with all his might, he wrenches it. Sinbi's head is still attached to the weapon, but Sinbi's head is no longer connected to Sinbi. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. Maybe if you gave me a little more time, I could pry it out for you. Set laughs. Nonsense. I think I prefer it this way. He calls to Minhit. I doubt anyone else wants to meet Sinbi's fate, but please ensure they are ready. It's time to march onwards. The falcons return and land on Horus's outstretched arms. They squawk loudly. Horus turns to Nekhabet. Set's army approaches. Nekhabet looks over the horizon. She can see the enemy advancing. Should we attack? She asks of Horus. My army is still weak, he answers. Perhaps we should take a more defensive posture. Nekhabet disagrees. You do that if you must, but my guards will not wait. We shall take the fight to them. Nekhabet's troops dash out into the battlefield, while Horus sits back. His forces murmur amongst themselves. They do not understand why they are not actively engaged. These are warrior gods of the light. They should be defending Heliopolis with great intensity, regardless of how wounded they are. With Nekhabet's troops, they reasoned, the numbers are finally in their favor. The battle commences in front of Horus. It is hard for him to watch Set's vastly superior army attack Nekhabet's forces, but he cannot look away. Nimti can no longer endure it. Horus, he screams, they are getting murdered out there. We must dash to their aid at once. No, I will not give that order. We stand down. It is we who defend the gates of Heliopolis now. With all due respect, I cannot abide by that. I shall lead my regiment into battle at once. Nimti, Horus explains, we are not here to conquer Set. We are going to depose Ra. Now, do you want a high seat in my new regime? Or would you rather fight for a lost cause? Nimti is stunned. What are you suggesting? Have you reached an accord with Set to oust Ra? That's not who we are. We are the light. We fight evil. We do not conspire with them. That was then. Now I fight for a unified Egypt. With you as their leader, I take it. I cannot accept that. I am sending my forces into battle this minute. Nimti turns his back to Horus, and Horus impales him with his spear. Why are you doing this? Horus frowns. It hurts me that you will not join me. Ra has kept us at war for far too long. It is time we made peace. Set and I shall rule equally, and an everlasting peace shall come to pass. Nimti begins to lose consciousness. He's only going to stab you in the back, as you have now done to me. We'll see about that. Goodbye, Nimti. Horus withdraws his spear. Nekhabet's forces are no match for Set's war-hardened desert warriors. A few of Horus's confused troops dash out into the fray, but most stay silent, wondering what they should do. Some witnessed Horus slaying Nimti, and the rumors are flying. On the battlefield, only a small cadre of Ra's palace guard remains. They flee back to the gates of Heliopolis. There, Horus's army decimates the remainder of Ra's guard. Set enters Heliopolis with Isis by his side. She hugs Horus. I know this was hard for you, but you will make a far better ruler than Ra. Set points to the entrance of Ra's pyramid. He's in there. He probably slept through the entire battle. I'm ready when you are. Horus stares at the ornate diamond and ruby encrusted door. He is apprehensive about entering it. He turns to look at his mother. Isis nods. Look to the future, she says, not to the past. Now go in and make me proud. Together with Set and Isis, Horus pries open the door. Now there is no turning back. Set gestures. After you, my nephew. Horus enters the crypt and grabs an already lit torch from the wall. He knows these corridors well. As Ra's primary general, he had been welcomed into this inner circle thousands of times. Naturally, this time would be different. They reach the center atrium. Ra's throne is vacant. "See, I told you," Set says. "The sun god slumbered during his demise." Set is grinning widely. "Shall we wake him?" Horus pauses. He feels a wide range of emotions: guilt, nervousness, fear, and exhilaration. "Yes," he finally says. "It is time to finish what we started." Set points the way. "He sleeps down this hallway." A large golden door stands before them. It is locked from the inside, and its handle will not budge. "Should we wait?" Horus asks. "Not when we could break it down. I would rather enjoy seeing the Eye of Ra when he realizes who's entered his sacred chamber." Isis joins them. The goddess of magic has a most interesting idea. "This gold has been consecrated. You will not be able to simply wrest it open. However, what if it were not gold at all?" "I'm not sure what you mean, but I always enjoy your notions," Set says. Isis stands back and concentrates. Soon, the gold door has been transformed into a large block of flaming ice. She smiles. "Soon the ice shall melt, and we may enter. Ra will have no choice but to yield his power." Within minutes, the ice dissipates. Set steps through the ice-cold fire. It is a different type of burn, bitter cold, but with the smell of ash. Isis warns, "Move quickly through it, Set. It will burn you." Horus quickly hops through it, and Isis follows. True enough, Ra is asleep. His youthful-looking body is wrapped beneath a linen sheet. "Nudge him," Isis suggests. Set pushes the shoulder of the sun god. He rolls over, still aslumber. Set finds this funny. "He must be dreaming he's still the king." Horus is sullen, but Isis is adamant. "Let's get this over with." She instructs Horus to awaken him, which he does. Ra is barely conscious, still in the dreamlike state. He sees Horus. "Horus, my friend, what brings you here?" Ra then looks and notices Isis and grows a bit concerned. When he sees Set, he sits up in bed. "This must be some kind of nightmare." Set laughs. "No, you slept through the nightmare. Now you're experiencing the hangover, known as reality." Ra is angry. He sits up and flashes a sunbolt through Set, plastering him against the wall. He readies another and aims it at Horus, who ducks, and it narrowly misses him. Isis smiles. "You're forgetting something, Ra." She blinks, and 1,000 deadly scorpions, poisonous spiders, and venomous asps appear in his bed. She leans in and whispers into his ear. "I know your secret name. I can utter it, and your powers will dissipate. We wouldn't want that, would we?" The spiders are walking up his arm. The scorpions scale his legs and crawl beneath his tunic. The snakes prepare to strike. Ra is naturally shaken. "What is it that you want? I can give you anything you need." Set has gathered himself. "Anything, you say? Well, we're going to need you to abdicate. It is time for you to step aside." "You cannot be serious. I am the creator of all life. I am the sole being responsible for all existence." "Careful," Isis says. "Those scorpions are getting awfully close to your genitalia." Ra is sweating furiously. "I will do what you ask. Please withdraw the reptiles and the arachnids." Isis blinks her eyes, and it is done. The spiders, snakes, and scorpions vanish. "While it would be far more entertaining to watch poison reap through your pores and wounds, this can be accomplished peacefully. You will accompany Set to the underworld." "Yes, my ruler," Set says, sarcasm dripping from his lips. "An eternity of suffering awaits. Horus, prepare a sarcophagus." Horus searches the room and locates several. The first he opens contains the mummified remains of a minor pharaoh. It is ornately decorated, beautifully carved in gold. "Something like this?" Set nods in the negative. "No, I was thinking something suiting a slave. Something wooden. Something without ornamentation." "I think I see just the one." He points to a common tinder box, similar to the type in which a slave might be buried. "Will this suffice?" That's more like what I envisioned. Isis approves as well. Ra, you should get inside this without any fuss. As I recall, you recoil at the very sight of asps. I can always provide some reptilian company if you like. Ra realizes that resistance is futile. His fate is sealed. He must sacrifice his dignity and hope for the best. Although, to be honest, the future looked bleak. Ra is now inside the coffin, and it is hoisted upon the shoulders of Horus and Set. Isis leads them back out into the sunlight. Seeing the two gods together gives pause to the previously warring factions. Set's soldiers and Horus's troops have been engaging in verbal assaults and minor skirmishes. This is, of course, expected from enemy factions who engaged in mortal combat for thousands of years. Peace is a foreign concept for them. War is all they have ever known. However, when Horus and Set step out of Ra's pyramid, they stop squabbling. Has a new dawn emerged? Do thousands of years of reconciliation lie ahead? Horus and Set pass the casket to Set's most trusted allies. Together, they address the masses. A long-standing war has reached its end, Horus announces. Today, we are no longer darkness or light. Today, we are Egyptians. Set takes center stage. My friends, both old and new, we resurrect what once made Egypt the most powerful pantheon the universe has ever known. No longer shall we fight amongst ourselves. We shall become one. There is no good. There is no evil. There is only Egypt. Horus resumes. Turn to your enemy and treat them as your comrade. Trust in each other as we trust in you. Together, we shall change history. Set continues. There is still much work to be done, but together it can be accomplished. The war between us is in the past. We look to the future. Horus is now your leader, Horus adds, as is Set. We share power. We share vision. We share the goal of a superior Egyptian pantheon. The crowd roars in approval. An armistice could not be any sweeter. Isis advises Horus, we must act quickly. Gather the scribes and have messages sent to the major gods in each realm. We must inform them that Ra has stepped down, and that you are now the chief among all Egyptian gods. Horus is puzzled. But what of Set? He is also empowered. Isis smiles. We have performed the first of many tasks. The alliance between you and Set cannot be known. It must remain a secret. And that secret will reveal itself in due time. Set's army has reformed. They have chained Ra's coffin to the back of a chariot. They are ready to move. Horus approaches Set. Where are you going? I have an underworld to take by storm. It has been a long time since I saw that opportunist Anubis. I suspect I should visit him before word reaches him. Horus is impressed. You're going to conquer the underworld? A very bold move. I like it. Set is smug. The toppling of Ra was only the first phase. Restoring my place in the underworld is the second. I rather suspect you'll like the third. Set turns to leave, but stops. Horus, I'm also going to need your falcon helmet. Reluctantly, Horus passes it over.